All right, we're back again for the lesson that I probably should have started with. But hey, we here. And let's get right into it because there's going to be a lot of information. I want it all to be in one video, so I ain't going to do a whole lot of yapping. I want to jump right into it. The name of this lesson is Black History. Who are you according to the Bible? Let's find some examples in the Bible of the Hebrews, the Israelites. Let's see how they looked. All right, let's go to Genesis 42. And let's get 7 and 8. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. All right. First of all, we need to establish how did the ancient Egyptians look. Not the Egyptians that's there today. I'm talking about the Egyptians from the writings on the walls. What color were they? So if Joseph was a white man, wouldn't he have stood out and been easily recognized by his brother? But since he didn't, since he blended in with the Egyptians, he could hide behind the Egyptian makeup and the Egyptian clothes and they not know who he was. If he was white and they were white, they would have stood right out like a sore thumb among the dark-skinned Egyptians. Let's get another one. Let's see about Moses. Go to Exodus 2:19. And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds. An Egyptian delivered us. Here we have Moses from the tribe of Levi being mistaken for an Egyptian. From the tribe of Levi. Remember these tribes. I'm going to give you, as we go, I'm going to give you the tribe that each person was from. You'll see why at the end. Okay. So we have Joseph from Abraham. They're not a nation yet. They're in Egypt. They don't become a nation until they come out of Egypt. So we have Joseph from Abraham, being dark skinned, like the Egyptians. We have Moses, a Levite, being mistaken for an Egyptian. Let's get another example for Moses. Let's go to Exodus 4. All right, and let's get verse 6. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. Other translations say white as snow. Leprous, white as snow. So if you notice during the movie The Ten Commandments, this miracle wasn't practiced by Moses in the desert. Charleston Heston, white hand, putting it inside its clothes and bringing it back out, back white. There's no miracle there. But if Moses' hand was dark and he pulled it out and it was white, now we got some. So you see why that part was skipped in the movie. All right, let's get another example. Paul, from the tribe of Benjamin. Let's go to Acts 21, verse 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Art thou that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar? But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew. Paul, from the tribe of Benjamin, being mistaken for an Egyptian. Because he was dark skinned. He looked like an Egyptian. See, what this is telling us is, to the naked eye, the Egyptians and the Hebrews, you couldn't tell by looking who was who. They were all dark skinned. All right, let's go on. Let's go to Matthew 2, verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. From the tribe of Judah, fleeing into Egypt. And why? Because he said that Herod would seek the young child's life. So what do you do? By the way, what was Herod's nationality? He was an Edomite from Esau, what we know today to be the white people. Rome was in charge then. Rome is Edom. You know, racially speaking, Rome were the white people. They were in charge of everything north of Jerusalem or north of Israel. They had control over that whole region. So you don't run north into your enemy. You run south to blend in with people who look like you. Right? Now we got Levi. We got Benjamin. We got Judah. All with ties are being mistaken for Egyptians. Right? Let's keep going. See what else we can get. Let's get that verse from the last video that I said you're going to see again. Ezekiel 8:3. And he put forth the form of a hand and took me by a lock of mine head. A lock of mine head. Whose hair locks up? Who has locks in their hair? Ezekiel, another Levi, priest from the tribe of Levi. Let's get another one with the locks in his hair. Go to Judges 16, verse 13. And Delilah said unto Samson, Hitherto thou hast mocked and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, If thou weavest the 7 locks of mine head with the web. Samson, from the tribe of Dan, with locks in his hair. What we're establishing here is that these tribes were tribes of color. All right. I think let's jump to something else real quick. Let me show you something here in the Bible dictionary. Okay, right here we got 2 Zondervan Bible dictionaries. Zondervan Bible dictionary. This here is the older version. This right here was given to me last Christmas. So I just want to show you, I've showed you how they're changing the stuff in this Bible. They're doing the same thing with these dictionaries. Let me show you, let's look up Ham here in this older book. Ham, here we go right here. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. All right, let's look up Ham in this new book. But I dog-eared it. Ham, right here. There's nothing in this whole thing about the Negroes. They've changed the whole definition of Ham and gave you more detail, but they took out the phrase, not the Negro. All right, one more. Let's look at this old book here. Look up the word ruddy. David said he was ruddy. A word used to refer to a red or fair complexion, in contrast to the dark-skinned Hebrews. Let's look up ruddy in the new book. Ruddy. See red. Let's go over to red. Red gives you this whole definition. Nothing about the dark-skinned Hebrew. So what am I saying? That they're changing the stuff here in the newer books during this time of awakening, just like they're changing your Bibles. So if you're gonna study, get the old stuff. It has the truth in it. All right, so from there we can see that once upon a time, they used to tell you who you were. They used to tell you exactly who you were or who you weren't. Ham, let's go back to Ham. The youngest son of Noah, born probably 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons that lived through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negro, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites. Those are the African nations. They tell you from Ham, you're African. This book says you're not. But now they tell you you're African American. You were picked up in Africa. We're going to get to that. But you're not African. Let me give you one that I just thought about. First of all, let me put up a table, a 12 tribes chart. And what I'm about to give you gives validity to this chart. Okay, this is a 12 tribes chart. According to the prophecies in Genesis 48, 49, and Deuteronomy 33, you can kind of figure out who these 12 tribes are by the prophecies that were given. So if this chart is correct, which is, I think so. I'm not a scholar, I'm not a researcher or a historian. So just based on what I know about the Bible, these charts here, they seem to be pretty accurate. Let me give a little validity to this chart. Go to Isaiah chapter 3, verse 16. Let's get it. Okay. At the time this was written, the northern kingdom was gone. It was only the southern kingdom left. Which was left was Judah, who are the so-called African Americans, Benjamin, which are the Jamaicans, and Levi, which are the Haitians, right? Let's read chapter 3, verse 16. Let's see if you catch it. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. You missed it. Look at the 12 tribes chart. Think about that verse. Think about who he's talking to. Who's left? Benjamin, Jamaicans. Levi, Haitians. Judah, African Americans. Think about what he said he was going to do. Now, God said, because you're hot. I don't know the proper term. But because you're hot, this is what I'm going to do for you. I will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and will discover their secret parts. What is he saying? Your pretty long hair is going to be nappy now. It's going to be short. Your hair used to be so long that it used to cover your butt, your secret parts. But since you hot and you walk around with your eyes, you know, with your bedroom eyes, you know, and you got your bracelets around your ankles and you're trying to be seen, this is what I'm going to do for you. You're going to lose that hair. And it's going to expose your secret part. Now, look at that 12 tribes chart. All those other tribes on that chart, the women have long, beautiful, pretty hair. Not saying that some of our sisters don't, but for the most part, I'm talking in general. We got that other stuff. We got that other stuff, you know. Now you want to put the weave in it to make it look like what it used to look. We don't even know that. That's what you're trying to get back to. Your hair used to be like that until this curse. So that's why I said, you know, the Bible gives validity to that chart there. It solidifies the whole thing. All right. Let's get something else. Let's go to the next thing. Where we want to go. Tell you what, let's go to Deuteronomy 28. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 chapter. And let's look. We're going to start at the first verse. I'm just going to get a couple of sentences out of this first verse. And then we're going to look at some of these curses. Deuteronomy 28, first verse. Now it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all of the nations of the earth. Let me stop right there. So he's talking to these Hebrew Israelites, whoever they are. We're going to find out who they are. If you do my commandments, do what I tell you to do. If, that word if, I don't want you to minimize that word if, because all this stuff is conditional. Even those promises. Go back and look at my video, Do You Love Him? Every promise in the Bible is conditional. It depends on what you do. Do you love him? If you will do all that I tell you to do, then all these blessings will come upon you. And he starts to name the blessings. Verse 2. And all these blessings should come on thee and overtake thee. And overtake thee. These blessings just going to overtake you. Do you know what overtake means? To overtake, to go far beyond, to overpass, you know. All that's going to happen to you if you keep my commandments. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Verse 3 starts some of the blessings. He names them. Let's jump to 15 though. Verse 15. But, starts with a but. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. They're going to overtake. Let's just look at some of these curses. And before we jump into it, though, let's get 46. Verse 46, and then we come back to verse 16. 46. 45. Let's start at 45. 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not upon the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. A sign. These curses will be a sign. All right? They're going to be a sign for what? Let's get Jeremiah 17 and 4. And thou, even thou, shalt discontinue from thy inheritance that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. They're going to be a sign because thou shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. You're going to forget who you are. You're going to discontinue from the heritage that he gave. So, back to Deuteronomy. These curses shall be a sign. All right. Let's see what these curses are. And then let's see who they happen to. All right, let's get some of these curses here. And I'm just going to get the most obvious ones. A lot of these curses happen during the a lot of these curses happened during the Grecian captivity, which is in that old Bible. I got something sitting on it right now, but you can find a lot of them in there. You can find a lot of them in the Old Testament, and a lot of them apply today. And we're gonna get the ones that apply today that you see every day, and the ones you can identify with. All right, Deuteronomy. We're gonna start with 23, verse 23, 28, 23. Here we go. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. Is that you? 26. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Look familiar? Verse 30. Thou shalt betroth or engage a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Did that happen to you? 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail for longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. 33. The fruit of thy land and thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away, a nation which thou knowest not. See, at the time this was written, there was no such place as America. You're going to see here in a minute, they're going to say a tongue that thou knowest not. There was no such language as English. Let's get to the next one. Okay, wait. This next one, to me, it's the home run right here. See, in Deuteronomy 48, it says, Thou shalt serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. Look at that picture right there. There's something else going on in that picture that you can't see yet. I'm going to show it to you. Those people, well, let's just get it. In Numbers 15:38, it says, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a written band of blue. Let's look at that picture again. Do you see the fringes in those people's garments? Look at the women. You see all those fringes at the bottom? Look at the man over there. He's got fringes on his shawl. You can barely see him with the fringes down there. Who are these people walking around with the fringes on, with yokes of iron around their necks? Until he had destroyed thee. That doesn't mean kill. That means you're destroyed. You don't know who you are no more. You have lost all your heritage. All you know is who they said you are. You've been destroyed. That's when the yokes came off. When Abraham Lincoln came and freed the slave, you didn't know who you were anymore. All you knew you was a slave. You had no remembrance of Africa, let alone Israel. Let's pause right there. Let me get a verse. Let me go to Psalms 83. Psalms 83. It says, Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. Thine enemies make an agreement. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's what they did. They all got together and said, hey, we're going to put away these people. And there's a reason why that I'm not going to get into on this video, but there's a reason why they got to get rid of you. There's a reason why you got off the boat and they gave you pig parts, chitlins, and the feet, and you ain't supposed to eat that stuff. But guess what? You've been destroyed. You don't know that. But that ain't going to stop the curses from coming on you that God promised. Go to Daniel, the first chapter. First chapter of Daniel. And let's see what happened here. And all we got to do is go down 3 or 4 verses. We're going to read 3 or 4 verses and see if you see anything. Now we go all the way to 7. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and the king's seed, and the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge and understanding, science, and such as had the ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years. At the end of thereof, they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar, and unto Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego. Now I just want to show you something here. Remember in the last video we looked at Ecclesiastes. What has been done will be done. Nothing new under the sun. Right? Let's look at this. They went and they took some of the king's seed. They took them. They taught them a new language. They gave him a new diet, and they changed his name. Any of that sound familiar to you? You were taken. You were taken. You were taught a new language. You were gave a new diet, and they beat a new name into you.
Lord God, help that boy.
Nothing new under the sun. They ain't gonna change up the tactics. If it works, why change it up? The fringes in the border of the garments. Dead giveaway of who these people are, of who you are. But let's keep going. 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. And what's that say at the bottom? English didn't become a language until 1362. They didn't understand English when they got off that boat. They've been to a place that far, what does it say? From far, from the end of the earth. From where they were, America was the end of the earth. Deuteronomy 28:50. A hard-faced nation shall not respect the old or show mercy to the young. And then I got here Baruch 4:15. Baruch is in that old Bible that you've seen me hold up so many times. Baruch was Jeremiah's scribe. So Baruch 4:15. For he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation, and of a strange language, who neither reverenced old man nor pitied child. Look at that picture. They don't care. Pick that cotton. Pick the cotton. Don't care how old, how young you are. Pick it. Next. Oh, look at him. Then the Lord will scatter you among the nations, from one end of the earth to the other. There you will worship other gods. Let me say that again. There you will worship other gods, gods of wood, that's your cross, and stone, the Muslims, your cobblestone, which neither you nor your ancestors have known. Jesus was not known to these guys. Even once they got taken away, the word Jesus, they didn't know nobody named Jesus. J wasn't even invented into the 1500s. You see in the last slide where English was invented in the 1300s. Yet the letter J still wasn't invented until the 1500s. So this Jesus, they didn't know nothing about it. We were not worshiping Jesus. Even in the New Testament, they knew nobody named Jesus. They knew Christ. They knew his name. But nobody named Jesus. Look at here, this last one. Let me show you a verse you've never seen before in the Bible. It's been sitting there the whole time. It's one of the curses. Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I speak unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, from bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you. Egypt. Now look, Egypt, you can walk to Egypt. You don't need a ship to get to Egypt from Israel. So what is Egypt? Egypt is a word that means bondage. Go to Exodus 13:3 and Exodus 20:2. And you'll see how Egypt is used as a synonym for slavery, for bondage. All right. So he's saying he's sending you back to slavery again in ships if you don't obey my laws, statutes, and commandments. And we know we didn't. We also know we aren't right now. That's why we're getting killed in the streets. That's why you're getting the police called on you for being black. That's why the police are killing you. That's why the stranger is rising up above you. See, we didn't even get those verses. Let's get that one real quick. Verse 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. You see, there's a lot of them that we didn't get. I mean, just for time's sake. Look at 37. And thou shalt be an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. A byword. You know what that is? That's black, African American, nigger, Negro. Most High didn't give you none of those names, but that's what they call you. That's what you've been reduced to because you didn't want to obey the laws, statutes, and commandments. Look here. It's important for you to know who you are. Why? Because the laws were not given to anybody else. They were given to you. Go back and read Paul. He tells you how important it is to be you. Why? Because the oracles of God were given to you. And you're the main ones, us. I say you, I'm including myself. Breaking these commandments. But when you know better, you ought to do better. If you go to the other nations and tell them, look, I got information. You're the children of Israel. You one of the tribes. Do you know how happy they would be? But I tell us, they don't care. And it goes right along with the attitude of the Israelites in the Bible. See God. Cloud by day, fire by night. Walking with him. And still complaining. Think of how bad it is now. You can't see it. They ain't. Let me give you about 3 verses, and I'm gonna cut it off. Let's go to no. Let's go to 2nd Chronicles first. 2nd Chronicles 7. 2nd Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin. Sin. There's not sins right there. There's not an S. What is your sin? And will heal their land. Sin. Even in the New Testament, John says, behold, the Lamb of God. But let's get it right quick. John 1. John 1:29. The next day, John seeth Jesus coming unto him and said, behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world. Now that word world, that means something different too, but I ain't got time. We ain't gonna get into that today. But I just want to show you that it's sin. Let's go back to 2nd Chronicles. If my people, that's you are his people, who are called by my name, shall humble themselves. That's, we're so prideful. You can show them, look, God said this. I'm going to do it like this. Let me show you how this is. Sometimes I have to give real life situations. I asked my wife one time, do you love me? Yeah, I love you. Why you ask? I said, because you won't do nothing I say. Well, I cook and I clean. Baby, I'm not asking for that. That's not what I need. I cook, I clean. I don't need that. I need this, this, and this. Quit trying to give me what you want to give me and think that that's good enough. I got to do the same for you, right? And that's what we give God. We give God whatever we want to give him and think he should be happy with it. No, give him what he asked for. That's the only way to please him. I wouldn't please. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from the wicked ways. What are your wicked ways? You're not keeping the commandments. Then will I hear from heaven and forgive their sin. The word sin again. And will heal their land. That's sin. What is the sin? Singular. You start worshiping other gods. And we're doing the same thing by worshiping this guy named Jesus, who has totally different characteristics from Christ of the Bible. It's somebody different. Christ never told you to go to church on Sunday. Christ never told you to worship my birth, which is, by the way, is not December 24th. He didn't rise on Sunday and die on Friday. Why is it so hard for you to see that this is somebody else? It's not the same as this guy. The Jesus in the church and the Jesus in the Bible, so-called Jesus, they're not the same. They're not the same. Get back to the Bible. You find out you're the people. I think we proved that today without a shadow of a doubt. You are the people. Get back to the commandments. Get back to what he told you to do. That's what he just said there. Let's get another one real quick. Let's go to Hosea 1 and 10. Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God. They're trying to tell you that today. Watch this.
What I'm about to tell you is that the Israelites, the so-called Jews that are living in Israel today, are not the real Israelites. The real Israelites are the black and brown people of the world. What happened was when the black people that were the true Israelites and the brown people that were the true Hebrew Israelites fell from God's word, as it is written, were cursed.
I feel like now it's my responsibility, now that I know the truth, to get it out there. So I'm hoping that by me doing this video, that maybe it will help to wake up some of the other black Hebrew Israelites. I see them on the videos, I read their comments, and a lot of them are just like, the Bible's not talking about us, that can't be us. Like, they just, that's not us. And I want you to know that yes, it is talking about you.
Hello everybody. This video is to show you who the true Hebrews or Jews are, or Yehudim. The people in Israel right now are not Jews. They're Khazars. Your true Jews, or your true Yehudim, are the so-called black person, or African American, as you like to call them sometimes. They're not African at all. They're the true Jews. They're the true Hebrews that were brought over here on ships, which the scriptures mention.
Did you see that? See, sometimes you got to hear it from other people. You're hearing it from me, but it ain't registering. But if you hear it from someone else, then it click. You see, we've been trained to listen to people of other ethnicities. Anyway, they're the authority. They know. Who are you? You don't know nothing. Let me hear it from him or her. They know what they're talking about. Well, I don't care who you get it from, as long as you get it. Let's get Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You're destroyed because you don't know who you are. You don't know that you're the sons of the living God. Because thou hast rejected knowledge. The knowledge that me and Michael and others are trying to give you of who you are, and get back to the commandment. Because you have rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. And thou shalt be no more priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. He's telling you. He's been telling you the whole time. 2 more, and I'm through. Hosea 6:2. 6:2. Listen to this. You've heard me say it before, but listen now. Now that you know what you know, listen to it now. Come, let us return unto the Lord, for he has torn us, and he will heal us. He has smitten, and he will bind us up. After 2 days will he revive us, and then the 3rd day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. 2 days. Peter tells you that a day with the Lord is 1,000 years. 2,000 years after Christ, he's waking us up. You just saw the videos of them saying, wake up. You're the people. He's waking us up. We're right on time. One more, and I'm going to let you go. Jeremiah 16:19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Surely our fathers, the Gentiles, not you, you a Jew, but the Gentiles, they're going to look at you and say, oh my God. They were the people the whole time. Surely our fathers have inherited life. We've been told wrong. These are the people. They would have never known. You would have never known because you're under the curse. You don't look like the people. You don't look like the blessed people. You're under the curse. Now, one last thing. If you're the people, who are the people in Israel claiming to be you? Revelation 2, verse 9. I know thy works and thy tribulation and thy poverty. That sounds like you, don't it? Your works, your tribulation, and your poverty. Who else could it be talking to? That's you. But thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. To be continued. Till next time, peace and shalom.